Hey guys, welcome to Flashbacks, a Flash Rewatch podcast, or the Flash Rewatch podcast. I don't know. That might help with searchability. I've already committed to the name. Anyway, I'm Alex, and I'm here once again with
Brady filling in for Will until he's back from paternity leave, as you guys who frequently listen to the show would know.
yeah. I gotta talk to him at some point soon. But anyway, we're here. It's a whole new season, season two, episode one, The Man Who Saved Central City. That's like a really long title. I know that you didn't grow up with Smallville or anything, but like they used to have these like one word, very concise titles, and then like these new superhero shows, like for instance, Superman and Lois has like one episode that's like a brief reminiscence between cataclysmic events, and I'm just
Yeah,
like,
it's
bro.
they're stupid long, and like I have gotten into Gotham recently, and they have like Madhouse colon Batman's Rise or whatever the hell, and I'm like, what is the fucking point of that?
It's ridiculous. But yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and get into this. This is a new season. You guys have undoubtedly already seen our new whole little show intro and everything. So for each season, I'm going to change the logo for both the podcast, like episode art, and then also like for the intro. But anyway, gonna go ahead and start out with my first note. So watching the recap made me miss Eddie. You're gonna hear a lot of that, by the way, in these notes.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of, yeah, that made me reminisce too. I was like, oh, damn it.
Miss him already. We open on a fight between the Flash and Captain Cold and Heatwave, and man, Cold is swinging for the fences, acting wise here when he yells
Yeah,
like a
he says,
maniac.
yeah, he goes, yeah, to die. And I made a note in my phone that I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah. I'm
Because
like,
he is
bro.
just overdoing it.
Yeah, because at first, like it went, and obviously we'll get into it, but it's kind of like because you're expecting immediately after seeing the recap for it to just jump right in, and we do get context later, but this one
Yeah.
they kind of do that season two intro where it kind of just throws you off. It's not like a Young Justice throws you off where there's like a massive time skip, but like there still is.
Yeah, 5 years between season one and two.
Yeah, if you ever cover that, by the way, on your podcast, let me know. I have thoughts.
I genuinely might talk about it because, like I said this on the last episode when we were with Lance and Cavante of Always Hold On to Arrow. That's my favorite DC show. So I want to cover it, but there's also already a podcast about Young Justice that I feel like just brings up a lot of things I would bring up,
Yeah, that's fair.
but I might talk about it.
That's basically why I did this flash. But well, literally, I guess I don't know if I've ever told you this. And then we'll get back into the summary. But one of the reasons, you actually have Ben to thank for the. I might have even said this before.
I
Um,
think you said this on the finale of
yeah,
season one.
yeah, where I was like, I came up with the name first. Like I was walking around, I wanted to possibly do a Flash thing, and I came up with like originally it's called Flashback. And then
Yeah.
like I told Ben, and Ben's like, "That's a great title." I was like, "Dude, I don't know." And he's just like, "You gotta do it at least for the title." I was like, "All right, fine, I'll do the
Yeah.
podcast."
Yeah, and that's why I was kind of apprehensive about the title of my podcast because I'm like, well, I'm on the autism spectrum and I'm not offended by the word tismo, but I feel like someone will be. But it just that title is so good, I feel like, for my podcast that it's just I had to do it because it's catchy.
Yeah, definitely. So anyway, getting back into the summary. So like I said, open up on the fight scene, like you said, time to die, or no, down to die, or something like that. Firestorm helps him beat the bad guys. The team meets back at the lab, and everyone is all smiles, and it's great to see Caitlin happy with Ronnie. Moment is short-lived. We find out once we see Eddie that this must be Barry daydreaming, confirmed when Wells stands up out of his wheelchair and like says he's ready to do this on his own. Cut to the empty
Lock him in
lab.
Arkham. Barry's hallucinating.
Yeah,
We
like
need to
the
put him
empty
in
lab.
Arkham.
Yeah, the empty lab was kind of sad. Like there's a lot of like kind of I would describe as like melancholic like moments in this.
Yeah, and it's weird because like that's not what I think of when I think of Barry Allen. Like when I
Yeah,
think of like melancholy in the DC universe, of course I think of Batman. Like
yeah,
Barry's always like that guy who is willing to put himself before others and make
hmm
sure everyone else is safe, he doesn't sounds kind of masochistic to say he doesn't care whether he lives or dies, but he would rather innocent people be safe than them be in harm's way. And but he's not like depressed. Well, kind of
Well,
depressed because
now
his
now
mom
he's
is dead,
depressed.
and
Yeah.
yeah, well, because like in the comics, like his mom's dead and his dad's sometimes dead. Depends on the writer. Sometimes he gets killed in prison, but like I don't picture melancholic tone when I think of Barry Allen, so that was kind of weird. I was like, huh, okay.
Well, he's got a reason to be sad as we find out Barry speeds through the city. We find out that he failed his mission to free his dad, and it's been 6 months since the singularity. He's on his own to keep his friends and family safe. We kind of find out more context about this later, but
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to bring up one line I noted down during that like dream sequence that I thought was funny is when Stein and Ronnie like unmerge, I guess you would call it.
hmm.
And Professor Stein just goes, "Thank you for not doing that while I was inside of you." That is the weirdest shit I have ever heard out of context because I wasn't paying attention at the time. I was doing something else and I was like, "Wait, what did I just hear?"
You're not alone. I kind of was just like, I feel like if this was on Arrow, Felicity would just be like, not like that or something like that. Like I feel
Yeah.
like she'd immediately probably pipe up. But oh yeah. So we then cut to a crime scene investigation where Barry and Joe discuss awkwardly, like there's kind of like some weird like distance between them. A nuclear power plant worker was strangled. He shoots down Joe's suggestion it might be Grodd. I like that they kind of called back to this because I kind of forgot that Grodd is still just kind of out there in the city.
Yeah, I forgot about that too, but then I also remember something that happens later this season, and I'm not going to spoil it even though this is a rewatch podcast, but something happens with Grodd later in the series and another character, but I didn't remember that till they said that Grodd could have done that. I was like, "Oh, wait. Yeah, he is still out there." So yeah,
I can't wait.
similar to
Like you were kind of saying, I can't wait to get into some of the later episodes with Grodd because even in the later, like the later stuff, those are some of the best episodes of this show.
Is he in anything past season 3? Do you
Yeah,
remember? Because I stopped watching after the third season. I was like, okay, I'm
he's
done with this now.
even in the weaker seasons, for me, like I've been kind of like watching the later seasons like through and kind of just seeing, obviously just for purely like curiosity's sake. And like the
Yeah.
reassuring thing so far is that I still, even though they're not obviously as strong, I still find stuff I like about them. So that's promising because I'm already
Yeah.
locked into this and this is a big commitment. So.
Yeah. Like season 6, I've seen like bits and pieces of that. The suit is was like the only good thing from that season I remember.
They do a weird thing and they immediately pivot away from it, but like and we'll get back into the episode in a second, but they do that
Yeah,
weird
we
thing
do
where
tangents.
it's like this, like the mask isn't like
Yeah.
covering right here and it looks terrible.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I was thinking of the weird suit that they made for like that they put what's his face? Tom Cavanaugh in later seasons, like the red one.
how about the black one, bro? Have you seen that one? Oh yeah, you
No,
got
I
something to
haven't
look up
seen
after
this.
this. It's pretty
I
rough
yeah,
looking.
I'll look that up after this, but I just know that Tom Cavanaugh looks weird wearing the season 9 Grant Gustin suit because that was very clearly designed for Grant Gustin and they didn't plan for anyone else to wear that.
Yeah, it's weird. There's a lot of head scratching moments in the later
Yeah.
seasons. Anyway, Joe asks him if he's going to Flash Day, and Barry hasn't decided yet. He doesn't think he deserves the key to the city or an award. We see a mysterious man snap a picture of Barry Allen leaving the crime scene.
I forgot he was in this that early. I was watching it. I was like, wait, already? I thought he came in like episode 2 when they
Yeah.
reveal who this man is, which that reveal at the end of this episode gives me chills.
Oh, but we're definitely going to get into that, and I remember
Yeah.
how I reacted at the time. But anyway,
I didn't know who Jay Garrick was at the time.
I said we'll get into it in a minute.
Oops. You can edit that out.
It's totally fine, man. You're good.
I
It,
didn't mean to I forgot that
it's a
we
rewatch
weren't
podcast,
spoiling.
man. It's
True.
okay. So yeah, so he snaps a picture of him. We find out through some exposition with Singh that Joe is head of a metahuman task force now, and Cisco is his partner. Cisco has a funny moment with Singh. Fear the beard. Singh just looks at him deadpan.
Yeah.
It's a very distinguished look, sir. Like he says to him
Yeah.
afterwards. That was great. Um,
Also, they mention Atom Smasher here, right?
yeah, not yet.
Okay. Because
Um,
I have a note on that. I'm very confused about Atom Smasher, but I'll get to that when you bring him up.
Yeah, definitely. I had a moment like that too, but yeah, we'll get to it in a second. Cisco's developing some sort of device called the boot and humorously gets cut off by Singh before he can request a badge. Like I thought this was his whole request to get a badge was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's a funny subplot.
Yeah. Joe asked him if it'll work, and he said it will. The police are apparently going to use it. Cisco talks about Barry going alone, which you can tell he didn't agree with. Cisco hasn't talked to him or even Caitlin since she went to Mercury Labs, which isn't. It, refresh my memory. Mercury also is kind of like a. Isn't that like Hermes and like the
Yeah,
other
the gods, there's Mercury,
speedster
Hermes, yeah,
stuff, kind of?
all that stuff. I also forgot that was a thing. Like I forgot about Mercury Labs for a bit
Me
because
too.
I didn't I just watched the finale when we covered that. I didn't go through and watch the whole first season, so I forgot that whole thing with Tina McGee and Mercury Labs in the first season.
It's part of the fun of a rewatch. It's kind of like rediscovering things. But
Yeah.
so so Iris shows up and mentions the key to the city thing, and Joe says maybe his best friend could talk him into it. Cisco humorously thought it was like he was talking about him, and Joe corrects him. I
Yeah.
thought that was really funny.
I love that part. Yeah, that was very hilarious.
Um so Iris sadly looks at a photo of Eddie on the wall before leaving. Once again, man, I really miss Eddie.
They just gotta beat us over the head with the fact that Eddie is dead now and we're never gonna see him again.
Well, I mean, look,
Until
now I'm
until
spoiling.
yeah. Until season 9.
Yeah, which just hang in there, guys. Eventually we'll see him
In
again.
like 6 years.
They could have pulled a Tommy for the record and have him appear every now and then. Maybe the actor was busy, you never know.
He probably was. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've only seen like 2 or 3 seasons of Arrow, so I don't know the whole Tommy thing. I'm not familiar with that concept, but I get the idea that you're going for.
Oh yeah. So Barry is reconstructing jitters at super speed. Iris walks in and makes a joke about him becoming a contractor if he ever wanted to give up
Which,
the Flash.
can I chime in? Sorry, I
Yeah,
keep
sure, go
interrupting
ahead.
and going on tangents. Barry would totally have tripped an alarm at jitters doing that. I have that in my notes. I'm like, how did he not trip an alarm? Maybe he did and he disabled it really quickly, but I still think he would have like tripped an alarm somehow.
I assume most of the building is probably destroyed though from the
Oh,
things.
from
Maybe the
the
security's out too. You never know.
yeah, I also forgot that Barry technically owns Star Labs, because of what happens with Dr. Wells.
Yeah,
Like
we'll
I
get into
completely
that.
forgot that he leaves Barry the building. I don't know how I forgot that.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of details. We'll definitely get into that in a little bit. But so Barry's been rebuilding a lot of the destroyed buildings at night and pleads with Iris not to report on it. She tries to convince him to go to Flash Day. Iris tells him that Central City just wants to thank the man who saved them, and Barry said he's not him. She rebuffs this, saying they believe in the Flash, and so does she. So after that, we get a flashback to the day of the singularity as the city is thrown into chaos and Barry begins stabilizing the whole. Stein tells Ronnie that they need to come apart in the hole to help stabilize it. Caitlin is worried he won't make it out if he does that. But he says they have to try. They stop the singularity, but Flash was only able to save Stein. We see him wait for Ronnie to begin plummeting from where the hole had been, but he doesn't. The look on Stein's face here and him asking about Ronald is so heartbreaking as well.
Yeah,
Like that was
yeah,
just so hard to watch, man.
yeah. I have a note as well. Those of you who watched the finale will will get this joke. Um, I just said it looks like Marty isn't done convincing people to fucking die because he convinces Ronnie to separate in the eye of the singularity. I'm like, didn't we establish last season that you are just convincing people to die left and right? What the hell, Stein?
He's got bloodlust, man. He's got a fucking
Apparently,
problem. I
he's
forgot
on
about
like
that.
fucking Mirakuru or whatever the hell that was from the two seasons that I do remember of Arrow.
Can you imagine his old self, like doing, like knocking
Oh,
people around like fucking Roy did in that
oh my
season?
Lord.
That shit's
Dude, Roy
hilarious.
Roy was something in that season. That's
That
for
season is
sure.
so good. That's
Also,
that and season five are really good of Arrow.
they at one point, I forget who, but someone says something along the lines of like Flash hasn't fought anyone publicly when he literally fought Pied Piper in the middle of the streets. And he's
Yeah.
also fought several other of the criminals in the show in broad fucking daylight in the middle of the street. So what do you mean he's not fought anyone publicly?
Look, man, the previous season writers probably left and they were just like they didn't rewatch. I guess they didn't rewatch the season before
I
writing the
guess so.
premiere.
Hey, our podcast wasn't around, man. They weren't, they didn't have the time to go back through and watch season one.
They weren't thinking that years later after the fact that like two podcasters were going to be poking holes into this episode,
Yeah,
basically. That's funny. But so like
I bring
basically
that up because it was like, oh shit.
yeah. So Flash is comforting emotionally distraught Caitlin. Barry looks sad when we cut back from the flashback. We cut to Flash Day with the celebration in full swing. I forgot that Bellows was here as Mayor Bellows.
Yeah, I had the note that it's you and Will's old pal Bellows from the 90s Flash.
That's our boy, man. I loved him and Murph in the original 90s show. Like, have you ever watched that? It's like really good.
I think I watched one episode and because I was listening to the Flashbacks episode about it, I listened to the Flashbacks episode about the first Flash, the 90s Flash episode. So I went back and I watched it. It's actually kind of all right. It's no
Yeah.
like CW Flash, but it's all right for the time.
I would recommend if you do go back and watch it, watch the episode where he travels to the future, because you see like a Flash museum there and everything, and
Oh,
and it's pretty cool. It's kind of like Terminator future a little bit, where everything's kind of like all like 80s edgy and stuff. Like it's
okay.
fun. Yeah.
I'm gonna show my age on this podcast here. Never seen Terminator.
Oh man, you gotta at least watch
I know.
T2
I know. Well, Andrew's gonna be pissed at me because I was like, I will watch Terminator. Haven't had the time.
if he listens to this. Maybe hopefully Ben, if he
Maybe.
watches this one,
Ben
won't
will
tell him.
forward it to him.
Yeah, he's
Ben,
like, you seen the
don't
shit?
say anything, Ben. Don't say anything.
I could edit this out, but I'm gonna leave it in.
Nah, it's
I'm gonna see
fine.
who's
Leave it in.
listening.
Yeah, leave it in.
But yeah, like you said, and like I said, I love Murph and Bellows in the original. Cisco asks Joe if he expects trouble, and they have a humorous back and forth before he's shocked to see Caitlin has shown up to the celebration.
As were we all.
Yeah.
Because
Uh,
she's cold this season. Wink wink.
the mayor addresses the crowd and we see all this merch I'd love to have. Did you see like some of this stuff like I would actually like to own, like the
Yeah,
shirts and
I
everything?
have a note about that I love the Flash t-shirts they were wearing. I was
Yeah.
like, I would actually buy the hell out of those shirts.
Yeah, that was cool. I had like back in I don't I probably have it somewhere around here, and it's not exactly the same thing, but at one point I forget if my mom got it or if I bought it one day, but I had like a Flash shirt where it had the red background like that, and the yellow lightning bolt was made out of like little tiny lightning bolts, and it had this
Whoa.
circle. It kind of looks similar to what was on the show, surprisingly
Yeah,
enough.
that's kind of cool. I want to get a Star Labs sweatshirt
I
like
have a
Barry has.
t-shirt.
Yeah, a lot of people I'll see walking around just wearing Star Labs t-shirts and sweatshirts. I'm like, man, I need to get me one.
I saw a student at work one time without going too far into like what my job is, and like I was
Yeah.
just like, I resisted the urge to recommend the podcast, but I was just like, I like your shirt.
Yeah, I've recommended it to my coworkers. I'm like, y'all should listen to this shit if you like The Flash.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
So the mayor addresses the, like I said, mayor addresses the crowd. We see Stein and his wife in the crowd. It was just really nice. Like it kind of unexpected seeing them like in there, like cheering him on. Like it was really cool.
She was a character. Genuinely.
Yeah.
Like I said, yeah, it'd been like a year or so since I saw season one, so I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Stein has a wife.
Yeah, not to like to be fair, she was prominent, but also there's like 20 some odd episodes. You're gonna obviously forget some stuff,
Yeah.
especially if you haven't been watching, like you said, every episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the mayor is presenting the key to Central City, and a mysterious hooded man is making his way through the crowd. There's a pause before the Flash shows up to the delight of the people.
Which that was awesome, by the way. That scene gave me chills seeing him actually show up. I was like, oh yeah.
It's nice. We don't really get a lot of moments like this in like modern superhero movies, I feel. Like maybe they think it's cheesy or something, but like I like moments where like the heroes show up. The closest thing we have to a moment like this in the movies is Spider-Man 3 when like he shows up to the thing to like be like it's Spider-Man Day
They
or
loved me.
something. Yeah, it's like
And
some
he
of the it's when
he
he's being an
kisses Gwen.
asshole basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
To be fair, he's an ass that entire, I would go as far as to argue he's an ass from like two to three. He's even kind of a dick in the first one a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's like less prominent there. He's kind of just an asshole all throughout the Raimi trilogy. And now this is where I get the Sam Raimi stands in my DMs telling me to die.
I will say this, and then we'll get back on the Flash. The Raimi Spider-Man trilogy is the closest we've gotten to like faithful comic books in terms of J. Jonah Jameson, like the whole newspaper thing and like that
Yeah.
whole element of it.
Yeah, it's like a perfect mix of the classic Amazing Spider-Man and the Ultimate comics because there's a lot of stuff from the Ultimate Comics that's in the movie because I think the Ultimate Comics came out in like 2000, 2001, somewhere around there.
Mhm.
So they would have had at least a couple of years of material to kind of mold into the movie.
There's some cross-pollination with some of the Ultimate stuff and the Sam Raimi movie. Like definitely, like
Yeah,
there's some
like
similarities.
Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi appear in an issue of Ultimate Spider-Man because it was
Really?
around, yeah, because Peter tells them they suck. It was a reprint after Spider-Man 2 came out, I think. And in the, again, we'll get back on Flash in a second, just tangents, people. Um,
Yeah,
but
Spider-Man Flash, they're kind
there's,
of similar in this like TV
yeah,
show and that.
yeah. There's in an issue during the Hollywood saga where they're making a movie in the comic about Spider-Man. In the initial printing, it's just like a crappy looking Spider-Man suit and or no, it was Arachno Man. It's like a yellow and green suit with like green little circular
Oh
bug
God.
eyes. It's actually one of my favorite Spider-Man variants, but Doc Ock is the villain in that. And when they reprinted it later, the suit looks like the Tobey Maguire suit. Doc Ock looks like Alfred Molina.
That's
Sam
awesome.
Raimi and Avi Arad are the director and the producer, and Peter's just like, "You suck, you suck, you suck, and you suck," and he's just roasting all these people like, "You guys are doing this wrong." And then he like swings away, and they film him fighting the actual Doc Ock later in the book, and then they use that as the footage in the movie.
Oh God. That's actually pretty cool. I look forward to getting into that. I'm anyway, we'll talk about that later. But
Yeah, you got to read Ultimate Spider-Man, dude. I've
oh
read every
definitely.
issue of that
I've read a few
series. It's
volumes.
the best.
Yeah, I've read a few volumes. It's pretty good. But
Yeah.
so anyway, it's great seeing Stein chant Flash like basically chant Flash as the rest of the
Yeah.
crowd is too. Like it's just great seeing him be so supportive.
Yeah.
Before he can accept the key, though, a vending cart gets hurled at the mayor. Luckily, the Flash like speeds him away. We see the culprit. It's the hooded man from earlier. Flash tells Joe to stand back before the Flash gets hurled away from the Iron Masked Man. The guy takes his
Uh,
trench coat off and has some sort of Bane-looking leather sleeveless thing on. Did you get Bane vibes from this?
yes,
Yeah.
I did. I got like Dark Knight Rises, or not Dark Knight Rises, Batman and Robin, like monkey kind of Bane from that, and I'm just like, oh my Lord, this is your attempt at Atom Smasher, really?
I don't know if I made that connection before, honestly. Like it was one of those
Well,
things where
I had
now I
remembered
do.
he was in the episode, but I just like I forgot how he looked.
Yeah. We'll get into like another thing I noticed too. But
Yeah.
so like
Oh,
he go
I
ahead.
have one more note real quick that I just said CW is flexing that their actor can move their head in the Flash suit, unlike Batman, because he just straight up like turns his head like that, and I was like, they're flexing,
Probably why it's leather or something. Like probably it's like kind
probably,
of probably the leather isn't as thick around the neck, maybe. But
probably, yeah.
so he so Adam Smasher pushes the car dispatching the police. Cisco vibes someone like basically sees someone with glowing blue eyes seemingly helping the Iron Masked Man earlier before he comes out of it which
I keep
was
thinking you're gonna say Iron Man.
oh yeah, I had to like kind of when I was typing like add the masked part of it.
Yeah.
um, so they use the boot and the guy absorbs it, growing bigger in a moment of questionable CGI.
Yeah, I just have a note that says, "Oh God, that CG is wonky."
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, which is weird because the long shot earlier where Barry takes off running down a building actually looks sick, but that's probably because it's from farther away and you can't really see the bad CG up close.
Yeah, they don't do stuff in the daytime, basically. But so Flash and Joe team up as Flash throws like two propane tanks in the air and Joe shoots them. The blast makes the guy smaller again, but also embeds a piece of shrapnel in Barry's leg. So the mask temporarily like comes off, revealing it's Al Rothstein, the dead nuclear lab worker from earlier. He masks back up and runs. So like I noticed this, and this is what I was talking about. The guy kind of, and this obviously was not intentional, but the guy kind of resembles, he looks like a younger, like Clancy Brown a little bit.
I didn't pick up on that while I was watching it.
Yeah,
I he looks familiar, but it's probably just because I'm remembering me watching the episode years ago.
yeah, maybe it's just me. But so Rothstein
I
is
don't know, I
still,
can see it though. I can see how you would think that. I just didn't pick up on that when I was watching it.
that's fair. Rothstein is still in the coroner's office and doesn't have a twin, so who is this guy? Joe asked Cisco why he froze up because he mentioned being terrified, but Cisco dodges the question before Iris shows up, asking him if he's the reason a bunch of X-ray machines and other equipment failed at the hospital next to Flash Day. He has a humorous line about being 92%
I'm
sure.
92% sure.
She kind of
Iris
looks
get
at
Joe
him
gives
like,
him a dirty look. I'm gonna go make that 100, excuse me.
yeah, yeah, that's great.
I love
Um,
that.
So Iris says to Joe that Barry can't do this alone anymore, and says if you, and then Iris says this to him, if you keep getting no for an answer, stop asking questions. And then I love this. I say that to you, quoting me to me, and she's like, "What can I say? You're a very smart man." I love this exchange between them.
Yeah.
Like it's just like a really sweet moment.
Yeah, their
Um,
dynamic is always the highlight of even the bad episodes.
Joe is so good, and like both of them are too. But like Joe also brings out really great like stuff in other people too.
Yeah. That's what happens when you have good actors on TV shows.
Yeah. Cisco pays a surprise visit to Caitlin at Mercury Labs. Cisco humorously says security is better at Mercury Labs than at the old, like Star Labs, basically. I thought that was great.
Yeah, because you've had more than a few people just get in there without any special credentials. Like Iris gets in there at one point, just willy-nilly just walks her ass in there.
He nerds out about the proton splicer, and we get a fun mention about McGee insisting on having the latest technology. That's really cool for me because I'm obviously like a big fan of the 90s show.
Yeah,
All right. He shows his true motive for being there. He wants her help and mentions seeing her at the rally. They didn't find anything on Rothstein's badge and think the X-ray stuff going out might have something to do with it and wants her help figuring that out. So we cut to Barry brooding over a less than favorable news article about the Flash faltering before an attorney shows up at the crime lab. Apparently, they've been trying to reach him, like we kind of mentioned this earlier, but trying to reach him for several months because Wells left Star Labs in his name. The place will go up to receivership, which I didn't know until I looked this up. Basically, that just means a third party takes control of a company's assets, but like unless he
Oh,
watches the flash drive.
oh, cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I completely forgot this was a subplot in this episode. Just went right through my mind. I was like, I don't remember Wells and the USB drive.
Yeah. It's a video from Dr. Wells that the attorney hasn't even seen. Barry refuses to watch it. He gets an alert on his phone. There's a break-in, or maybe it's on his laptop, I don't remember. But there's a break-in at Star Labs, and it's Iris, Cisco, and Stein all working in the lab, which I found kind of funny. He's like, "What are you guys doing here?" Um,
Yeah.
the metahuman absorbs radiation to grow stronger, so in order to find him, they'll have to look for places without radiation. Barry wants them to leave, but Joe says he needs his partners and friends, and Iris tells him everyone there cares about him, but they also care about the city, and that means helping the Flash. He can't deny them that. I love this, and Iris stepping up like this. Like, I thought she was really strong this episode, actually.
Yeah, and I have some problems with the way Barry's acting in this episode. Like my note just says, Jesus, Barry, quit acting like a douche.
Yeah. Um,
Because
uh,
he is just an asshole in this episode.
yeah, I get where he's coming from to an extent, but like at the same time,
Yeah.
like it's not like they're going out there with you. Like just let them like at least give you intel and stuff.
Yeah, none of them have superpowers yet.
Yeah.
So like there's no risk of them getting hurt. Like, come on, Barry.
Right.
To be fair,
Oh,
we did talk about Star Labs having lax security earlier, so maybe that's part of the problem.
definitely. They find a spot at a plant, and this I love this moment. Stein humorously names him Adam Smasher. Smasher. Cisco is so proud of him. He hugs him. He's like, "That's a great name. Welcome to the team. I'm dead. LOL."
Isn't there a Hulk joke in there too? Or was I making that up? Or is that later?
That might be later. I'm not
I feel
sure.
like there was a Hulk joke at some point in this episode.
Maybe. But yeah, that moment, like I love that. Like he just like
Yeah.
I think that's probably gonna go down for my humor section later when we get
Oh
into
yeah.
that. But
That confused me though, because I was like, Adam Smasher is a member of the Justice Society of America in the comics. Why is he a villain?
oh, he is?
I'm pretty sure.
Let me look that up.
He's part of the JSA in the Black Adam movie, and I'm pretty sure he's in the comics as a JSA member. That's why I was confused. Is
Huh.
like, why is he fighting Barry?
Let me look this up actually while we're talking about it.
Yeah, you
I
can
think
edit
you're
this.
no, you're right. That is yeah, and it's the same guy. That's bizarre.
Yeah,
That is weird. Wow, weird.
yeah. I was watching the episode because I'm like, okay, I'm a nut for the JSA. Like, I like the JSA. Adam Smasher's a member. Why is he a villain fighting Barry Allen?
Yeah, it's so
Like, that
weird.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So Barry still tells them to leave, and Joe says he needs their help. He says he doesn't before speeding off. Barry's on his own. He left the comms behind. Atom Smasher is absorbing radiation before the Flash interrupts him. He asks him why he looks like Rothstein, and he says he wouldn't believe him if he told him. Cue fight scene. Cisco hacks into the security cameras so they can check on Barry. His funnel hand trick doesn't work. He uses this trick a lot. Did he use that
Yeah.
in the animated thing we watched recently actually?
I think he does, yeah.
That's wild. So obviously it doesn't work. He's outmatched and is getting strangled by Atom Smasher. Team Flash is at a loss for what to do before Stein says to trigger the building's alarm system. Atom Smasher, he said you're some kind of big hero, but you don't seem worthy of him or this city. The alarm interrupts the beatdown Flash is getting, and he runs off.
Isn't
Cisco,
this where Cisco says, "Come on, feel the noise," and it's a reference to that song?
Yeah, that was yeah, I noticed
Yeah,
that
I had
too.
that in my notes. I had the second part of that verse, and I was like, I love that song.
Nice. So he runs off. Cisco, Professor Stein, you are a genius. And I love this Stein. I believe that's already been well established. Like I like that whole little back
That
and
was
forth.
yeah, that was funny. I believe that has already been well established. I just like the way that Stein talks. I like
So
Victor
he's
Garber.
great. Yeah, Victor
He's in
Garber's
another he's in another DC project actually. He's
really
he's the voice of Sinestro in Green Lantern First Flight, I believe.
nice.
But he was the voice of Sinestro in that, and I was like, that's actually
That's
really
a
good
solid
casting.
movie too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that he's slotting into the Wells role, basically. Like that's basically the role
Except
everyone
not evil.
occupies. Yeah, yeah, that's even better. So Barry speeds back into the lower level of the lab before retreated to another flashback. Barry's with Joe. It was shortly after his mom's murder, and he refuses to eat. Joe says it's been 6 months since that happened. Barry angrily pushes it away, the food, and Joe says he gets the angry thing. It makes him look strong for his parents, but anger is easy. The tougher thing would be to allow himself to feel. I like this whole
Yeah.
scene.
That scene, the flashback scenes just makes me sad. Rest in peace to Logan Williams, that
Oh
actor that
yeah.
played young Barry. He passed recently.
Yeah, it's rough. I was, yeah, that's tragic. He's taken like, what happened basically.
Yeah.
Um, it's okay to be sad, Barry. Your parents will understand if you're not strong all the time. That's why, he's there. Barry hugs them. And like we have this moment where like Joe seems kind of surprised and he's like, "It's okay, son, I got you." You can really
Yeah.
tell this emotionally affected him too.
Yeah. Like I give it shit sometimes, but I like the Barry and Joe dynamic. Like we give it shit because it's like weird that he's dating Iris, but I like their dynamic in this. It's really like heartwarming.
Yeah, definitely. So we cut back to Joe attending to an unconscious Barry on a hospital bed in the lab. He wakes up with the start before Joe says he's got him. It's okay. Barry asks where everyone is, and Joe said he figured he wouldn't want an audience when he woke up. Barry scoffs, then thanks him. I have like a really long thing of dialogue here I'm gonna get through because it was just really important. Joe, Iris was right. You're not gonna do this anymore. For the past 6 months, I've given you your space to work all this out. Come back to us. But today you proved that you'd rather just get yourself killed. Barry, it's better than getting my friends killed. Joe. You want me to tell you that it wasn't your fault? I can't. It was. Guess what? You weren't the only one making decisions that day. All the rest of us were there too. Eddie and Ronnie, they chose to help you stop Wells and stop that Barry singularity thing. Like I like I like that you still like kind of
Yeah.
like that.
I like this scene too because it kind of goes into what I was talking about earlier with comic
Mm,
book Barry Allen, where he would
yeah,
rather see himself hurt than others.
definitely. So it's he says it's all on us, Barry. So stop with hogging all the blame and regret. We gotta live with it, move on. Barry, I noticed he had a tear rolling down his face. He's like, "What do I do now, Joe?" Well, I know that you've been rebuilding Central City at night. It's just bricks and paint. Maybe you should start trying to rebuild things that really matter. Barry nods. Like this whole scene was like no notes. This whole scene was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like even going to, I'm sure at some point maybe we'll do Crisis of Infinite Earths. Like we might cover like the Cliff Notes version of that because that's a very involved thing. Like we'll cover like the comic
The
aspect of it a little bit.
dude, that comic is like a fucking cinder block. Like it's huge.
It was a hard read. I'm not gonna lie. Like it was one of
I
those
haven't
that
read
felt
it.
like it felt like homework when then again I was a
Oof.
teenager, but still.
Oof. Is it is the art in that book again, side tangent, sorry
The
listeners,
art's
but
great.
is it Alex Ross?
No, it's I think it's is it George Perez? I think it's George Perez.
Okay, because I don't know why. I like more cartoony comic book art, so I that's why I haven't read Kingdom Come because I'm like, okay, Alex Ross's art is too real looking for me. I would
That's
rather just
fair.
read like Superman and Batman by Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness because I love Ed McGuinness's art.
Yeah.
That's a hot take that's also gonna get me
Oh no,
crucified in the comics or in the comments, but you know,
I love Ed
everybody's got a
McGuinness.
preference.
I love Ed McGuinness too. We actually covered some of his stuff. It was either on another show, Men of Steel, or it was on might have been on Night of the Batman. I don't.
Wasn't on, I think it
It
was
was on
on
Night
Night
of
of
the
the
Batman.
Batman because
That's
you
right.
guys did the Superman and Batman Public
Yeah.
Enemies, which is my favorite animated DC movie. I love that movie.
Really? I
Yeah, I
like
love that.
Under the Red Hood is probably my favorite.
Under the Red Hood's my favorite Batman one, but DC, it's a close second between Justice League Doom and Superman and Batman Public Enemies. I haven't seen Apocalypse, but I've seen Public Enemies.
Apocalypse is fun. We actually on Men of Steel we covered that one next. But
Oh,
yeah, whenever that one comes out, I'm not sure when he's releasing that. But
I don't know.
so Barry shows up for a surprise visit to see Caitlin at Mercury Labs
Snowberry!
first. Yeah, yeah, the shippers were probably so happy.
That's what my notes say is just all caps Snowberry with an exclamation point because I'm like, yes.
I'm sure Amanda, if she had watched this with me, would have got a kick out of that. But
Oh, probably.
he wanted to see her. He mentioned Cisco saying he saw her at the Flash Day thing. When she says it's been a while, which surprised Barry. Basically, it surprised Barry that he'd see that she was there.
Yeah.
He starts that BS about her knowing more than anyone he wasn't the hero that day. She rejects this. He apologized for Ronnie dying, basically saying that he should have saved him. And she's like, "You did everything you could. It wasn't your fault." She like blames herself and goes on this long thing about how basically they had an opportunity to like leave and she didn't want to leave Barry or Star Labs or Wells basically, and like starts
Yeah.
blaming herself.
I have a note about her dialogue. She says, I don't blame you for Ronnie's death. And there's a huge pause. I thought she was gonna say, I blame Stein.
That son of a
Because he
bitch.
tells him to go into the singularity. I was like, oh fuck.
I'm surprised. Like, I feel like a less well-written show might have like leaned into that. Like, she was like really angry
Yeah.
at him, but I think she understands that. Like, it was just one of those things. But she's crying, and then he pulls a handkerchief out of the back of like his pocket, and she's like, "What are you, 80 or something?" Like, I thought that moment was really great.
Yeah, that was a fun moment.
Yeah, and
She
then the
also says like something about what if this happens, and my note just says, what if you two got together instead of doing all this bullshit?
nice. The flash drive falls out of Barry's pocket, and Barry tells Caitlin what it is. She's surprised he hasn't watched Wells' like last living will. Um, he's been too afraid, and Caitlin asks if they can watch it together. He agrees. I thought that was like really sweet of her.
Yeah, and that was where my note about maybe you two, what if you two got together was where that was from. Because I was like, I know we have to have Patty and he has to get with Iris, but just get them together for like a season.
It'd be nice. Wells says, so we cut to the thing. Wells says if he's watching this, he's dead and something has gone horribly wrong, meaning the last 15 years was for nothing. He realized raising him over, this is so twisted, raising him over that time, that they were never truly enemies. He's,
Oh,
he's not the thing he hates. And so he wants to give him the thing he wants most. It won't matter, and he'll never be truly happy. Trust him is what he says. Barry's staring daggers into the screen. He knows him. He says and he tells him to erase everything before that moment and confesses to the murder of his mother. Barry's elated that he has what he needs to free his dad now. Um, so he tells Joe to have everyone meet him at the lab, and Caitlin says she'll drive. Joe and Barry are in the Star Labs hallway. Apparently, Wells gave all the right details, and it's not a done deal yet, but the DA says it looks good. Joe says as he's on the phone with the DA. I'm so happy for Barry here. Iris hugs him when he meets with everyone. Henry's coming home, she asks, and then I just wrote, "This is so nice." They still have to deal with Adam Smasher, this time with Team Flash's help. He admits he needs their help. He consults with the team on how to best stop him. Caitlin says if he wants radiation, then give it to him. I love that she credits Cisco here, and I love seeing them bond again. Cut to Adam Smasher's apartment. And man, this scene, as we see a
The
signal in the
flash
night
signal.
sky, yeah, there's a flash signal, and I was like, what the hell? Like, I forgot about this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, I forgot about that too. I remembered the flash signal, but I thought it was like way later in the season. I didn't realize it was like episode 1 we're doing the flash signal.
Yeah. Smasher shows up. Barry cuts it off humorously, saying he sees he got his message, and then this dialogue is great. Caitlin, that light was perfect bait. What made you think of it, Cisco? I don't know. I think I saw it in a comic book
I
somewhere.
think I
Like that
saw
was
it in a
great.
comic book somewhere. That was hilarious. But that also brings up kind of a continuity thing because we know Batman existed in the Arrowverse
Well,
at
different.
some point,
Yeah, because Oliver mentions Bruce Wayne at one point,
and
but
Batwoman,
yeah, Batwoman was
Batwoman's
originally a
whole thing is
different.
Bruce went missing.
Well, Batwoman was originally a different universe.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a different universe. It was
Oh,
because the
I've never seen
Elseworlds.
this, so I did
Elseworlds.
not know that. Oh, so it's like Superman and Lois.
Yeah, well, Superman and
Because
Lois.
Superman and Lois is Elseworlds.
It was later. It wasn't originally.
Yeah, even though it has John Diggle, sorry, John Stewart in one episode.
John Stewart Diggle, whatever.
John Diggle Stewart or something like that, because his stepfather had the last name Stewart, and it's like, okay, fine, I'll let you get away with that.
I don't want to talk about it.
No,
Barry tells him to chase them. Smasher follows him to a nuclear power plant. Barry lures him into the nuclear chamber. It overwhelms him until he collapses on the floor. Flash walks in, apologizes, but he couldn't let him hurt anyone else. Then he asks him why he wanted to kill him. Smasher, almost dead, says he promised he'd take him home. Flash asks who made him promise that. Smasher looks terrified here and says Zoom before
yeah,
dying. Like that was like
yeah,
really cool.
I have a note, and again, rewatch podcast, spoilers. My note says he's from Earth 2. Doesn't explain why he's a villain. That just is not an explanation for why Atom Smasher's evil.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into more of that later. We might even do like a little character spotlight where we like maybe compare and contrast the difference between like the
That would
show
be
Zoom and the other one.
awesome.
Yeah, because they're
That'd
definitely
be
like
awesome.
distinct differences.
Yeah. Like
So
Zoom in the comics is not from Earth 2.
yeah, no, not at all. But the next scene is at the prison as we see a cleaned up Henry Allen being released from jail. Barry and him embrace. Barry, let's get out of here. Henry, I'll race you. Barry, you'll lose. This is so
You would
heartwarming and
lose.
funny.
You will lose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my note just says Henry Allen's free. He's totally not gonna fuck off now.
We'll get into that in a second. But
Oh,
Henry is greeted to a welcome home party by Team Flash as Renegade plays. I remember when this song was like so big, and I used to love this song.
I love this song. I love this song so much.
So good. Uh,
I forgot it was in this show.
yeah, they have some really good like needle drops in this show, definitely.
Yeah, they had Uptown Funk in season 1 where Barry's doing a risky business number. I
I
remember
forgot about
that
that. It's
because
so
I was
funny.
like, this is weird as hell.
Hey man, it's a fun show. But it's great
It's
to
fun. Yeah.
yeah, it's great to see Henry and Joe hug. Cisco got a badge from Joe, so we pay off that little scene from earlier.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Stein makes a toast to the ones they've lost and the ones they have and have back like Henry and says a Jewish word meaning forward, and they each toast to moving forward. I thought that this was like a really good moment here.
Yeah, it felt kind of weird to me at first because I was like, shouldn't Barry be giving that toast? Because, like, it's the day is kind of his because it's like Flash Day and then his dad gets released from prison. I feel like that should have been Barry, but, it was fine the way it played out. It just was weird at first. I was like, Barry should probably do this.
Yeah, that's fair. So Barry talks to Henry away from the group. He wants to look for an apartment for the two of them. He wants to help him get his medical license back to either get his practice back again or work with them at Star Labs. Henry doesn't want to talk about it now, suggesting enjoying the party and talking tomorrow. Barry asks if he's planning on sticking around. Henry asks if he can really be all he's meant to be with him still around, and then we're gonna get into this right here. So Hold on one second. I actually lost my place. There we go. Um,
You're all good.
yeah, Barry says he's the only family he has left. Henry says that's not necessarily true, is it? And says like he has another family in this room. They need his help too. Um, when he needs them, he'll be there, but right now this city doesn't need him, and to be his son, and basically doesn't need him to be his son. Like basically doesn't need him. It needs
Yeah,
him to be
my
the
note
Flash.
here says, oh, sorry, didn't mean to
Oh no,
cut
you're
you off
good.
there.
Just let me
My
let
note
me
here
get through
just,
this because then we'll definitely
oh,
get into
sorry.
that moment. No, no, you're good. It's just this part, and then like we'll both obviously get into that because I
Yep.
have like a lot to say too. But
Yeah.
he so he like he doesn't need to be his son. He needs him to be the Flash. He proudly says, "My kid, the superhero." Barry tearing up as he tells his son he has to go and that he needs him to tell him it's okay. Barry agrees. Joe and Henry exchange a glance as Henry embraces his crying son. Okay, now we both obviously have thoughts on this. You go first, Brady.
So my note when he said that he doesn't need Barry or Barry doesn't need him, I'm like, yes, but the audience needs you so that Barry and Iris's relationship doesn't feel incest. And I feel like it's kind of a shitty idea to just have Henry Allen get released from prison. Like the whole crux of season one is trying to get Henry out of prison and prove he was innocent. And then the minute he's out, he just fucks off and goes to another city to do stuff.
Yeah. It's I have a lot of thoughts. So I hated this scene back when I first saw it and I still do now. For new reasons now, it's so manipulative on Henry's part that he says that whole thing like I need you to tell me this is okay basically. Like that is so manipulative for
Yeah.
him to like do. And like this whole thing, like it just comes across as self-serving. Like he's basically like what he doesn't say, like the quiet part of this conversation is like, what life do you expect me to have here? Even after his name has been cleared, people are still gonna look at him sideways anyway. And like he doesn't
Yeah.
really have a place there. And like that's not, it just seems self-serving. Like he doesn't have a
Yeah.
life there, so he wants to leave.
Yeah, and it was probably also, I don't know if John Wesley Shipp was doing something else at the time or he just like didn't want to have a lot to do with the show anymore. Like he wanted to, I don't know if he wanted to like move on from it or whatever for a little bit, but I don't know. It just feels kind of rushed trying to kick Henry out of the series or the
It's such
season.
bullshit though, because like he obviously like comes back as like a main fixture. Like again, it's a rewatch thing, but he's like a main
Well,
fixture in
yeah.
this show and multiple other ones. So like it in retrospect, even at the time,
That's
this pissed
right.
me
He's
off.
on Stargirl.
Yeah, like it's just like, come on, man.
Yeah, I think he might have like braced it later on as like, oh, this is kind of cool. I get a second life as this character, but
Yeah.
right here it just feels like either he wanted to distance himself for a little bit or the writers just wanted to kick out Henry so they had one less story element to worry about. It just felt kind of lazy, like the time skip in Young Justice.
Yeah, maybe maybe it was also a thing where they maybe the writers at the time didn't really have like an active role for him. Maybe it was partly that too. But I'm like, you got to see that this is like
Yeah.
problematic from like he spent the whole last season, like we've said, trying to fix this. He finally does, and he's just like, all right, I'll come back when you need me, but I'm basically gone to fucking wherever. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even remember where he said he was going. I was so pissed off that they did that. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I remember being like, what? And then so anyway.
I don't think I picked up on all those like manipulative undertones when I first saw this because again, I was watching this as it was coming out on Netflix in like 2017. So
Oh,
I didn't pick up on any of that.
well, yeah, me too. Like this time, much more. I noticed the manipulativeness of like being like, I need you to tell me this is okay, and I'm like, dude, like, come
Yeah.
on, man.
Yeah, now
Um,
that I'm not 13 years old watching this, that is kind of not okay.
yeah. So cut to Star Labs as Barry meets Joe. He asks him if like basically Henry got off okay, and he says he did. He dropped him off at the station. He asks him if he's good. Barry says he's unsure. He feels like every time he wins, he still loses. This is so Spider-Man coded, by the way. Like this whole
Yup,
moment.
that's exactly what I thought, especially with me on my podcast covering Spectacular Spider-Man, I just got done watching episode 3, and there's a lot of that like Peter Parker wins, Spider-Man loses, that kind of stuff in the third episode in particular, and it's some beautiful stuff.
Definitely.
I
Also,
haven't recorded that yet though.
by the way, go check out his podcast if you guys haven't already. We'll have plugs at the
Yes,
end.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you
problem, man.
for the promo.
Yeah. But Joe hands him the key to the city happily, Joe. Well, it's not bad, very. It's not bad. It's pretty cool, Joe. It's real cool. Come on. Like I love that whole like little back and
Yeah.
forth between them. He joins the rest of Team Flash in the lab. Cisco informs him he added an upgrade to his suit. Spotlight on the symbol with the white background. This was such a huge moment at the time. And I also, yeah, and also since like I said I would do it, we get to
Yep.
see I have
There's
this figure from a while back. Like obviously the rest of the suit is basically like you got the piping on the back and everything with the only addition is
yeah.
this, but it was such a big deal back then like seeing
Oh
that.
yeah. For
um
audio only listeners, by the way, he just pulled up a Flash figure that has the white lightning bolt on it. It's just the one from the show with the white lightning bolt.
Definitely.
Figured I should point that out just in case people are listening audio only.
Oh yeah, like the superhero stuff you should know guys say, the oral
Yes,
listeners.
that's where I got that from, is Andrew always dropping that on superhero stuff you should know.
Yeah. So spotlight on the symbol. Like I said, big moment. Cisco. It's just like the one from the future newspaper Gideon showed us. I was thinking, you shouldn't fear the future anymore, right? Barry, no, it'll be here faster than we think. Um, I'd like to mention this on like one of the things where you were like promoting the that season 2 is coming soon. Like you made that
On
same.
Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram, Brady made that same pun, and it took me to watching the episode because I thought he was just making a funny pun, and then I'm just like, "That's great!" Like I just picked that up. I was like, "That's where he got it from." Nice.
Technically, I was referencing when Wells says it in season 1, where he's like, the future will be faster than you think. I just, for some reason, blanked out of my mind, even though I'd watched it like a day prior, that he says that at the end of the episode.
Yeah. Stein compliments it, saying the lightning definitely pops more against the white. Oh, by the way, do you think those merch vendors will be pissed when they see the change?
Yes, they'll be like, what the fuck, man? We just made the red symbol. Now you changed it? What the hell?
Kalen says
There'll be like
Starlight.
an angry mob outside Star.
Oh, definitely. Kalen says Star Labs is safer than ever with increased security and surveillance. Cisco says it's recoded, double firewalled with electronic lock sets. Nothing is getting through without them knowing. Iris says people can't just waltz in and out. Exactly, Cisco says. Hilariously, a mysterious man appears behind him. Cisco, for real?
For real?
I thought that was great.
Uh,
Joe had that
yeah.
gun ready, bro. He said, like, he's saying for him to stay where he was. Barry, who are you, stranger? You don't know me, but I know you, Barry Allen. Joe, take one more step, it'll be the last step you take. The man asked you a question. Who the hell are
Joe
you?
was ready to kill that motherfucker. Like, Joe was like, I will fucking kill you. I'm tired of this shit.
He's sick of it. Joe's just so fucking fed up. And then he's like, the big
Oh,
reveal.
and we'll see it in a later episode.
Oh, definitely. I know what you're talking about. I thought the same thing. But the
Yeah.
stranger says, "My name is Jay Garrick, and your world's in danger." Cut to end logo. So
Dude, gave me chills. That reveal was
yeah,
awesome.
I remember seeing because I don't know if I knew that yet. Like I don't remember. Like a lot of this is vague, and I don't really have like at a certain point when we go through the show. We on my old YouTube channel, I have a video where it's me, Will, and like another friend of ours, like in my car. Like it's called DC TV Talk, where we're
I
talking
think I've
about
seen this video.
yeah, we're talking about that, and I think we like addressed like our theories on who Zoom is, and it's like wildly inaccurate, but like still, it's like one of those things where it's fun to. I might include that as like a little bonus like video in between for people to enjoy. But yeah, like
Yeah.
just to see it. But yeah, like it definitely
I
this was
don't
a
think I
huge
had a
moment.
theory. Yeah, I don't think I had a theory when I was watching this. Well, no, I actually did know who it was going in because I've always been obsessed with like Lego minifigures and customizing Lego minifigures. I found this guy, I can't remember his channel name at the moment, but I found this guy on YouTube who made custom like painted CW Flash minifigures, and he got to Jay Garrick and he like basically just spoiled that entire reveal. So I think going in, I kind of knew that this guy wasn't who he said he was. But it's still cool to see how it plays out, even if you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, definitely. So he basically like Mask of the Phantasm did with like the action figure thing.
Yeah,
For people
yeah,
that
pretty
don't know what
much.
that is, that's so like the toy line came out before the movie, and the Mask of the Phantasm figure is famously Andrea Beaumont, and like the figure you could remove the mask, and so it had a massive spoiler if you actually bought that figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was at some point I want to track down that figure. That'd be like a cool piece of merch to own, honestly.
Comic book store. Try comic book stores. They tend to have like cool old school merch like that, depending on the city.
Nice. I have I actually got that big, I don't know if I've said this before, but that big Flash figure in the background. I got that from an antique store actually. It was the same place I got
Oh wow.
the Batman trading cards or Batman Forever trading cards from or the returns one. No, the
Wow.
returns ones I mean, not Forever. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's where I got some Batman Returns cards.
Yeah, it's down the street from me. I might go there more and see if they have
Oh,
any other
cool.
cool stuff. But yeah, so anyway, overall this season premiere, like it was such a big deal, and the final scene with Jay, like obviously was an even bigger deal. There's definitely flaws to this episode, and it's gonna affect my final score, but I guess I'll go into my heart, humor, and spectacle, and then you can go into yours and we can give our final like how many lightning bolts. So for me,
Yeah, for sure.
the heart would definitely be just that scene with I'm trying to think because there were just so many like heart-filled moments here. Probably just the stuff with
Yeah, definitely.
him and Barry. Like I can't really pick one. Just any scene with Joe and Barry, and this was like really good. Um,
Yeah.
the humor for me would probably be the bat signal moment, just because it's on brand for
Yeah,
me.
that's yeah, I'll spoil mine. That's the same for me for humor is I don't know, I think I saw it in a comic book somewhere.
Yeah. And then the spectacle would probably be, I mean, the flashback with the city, like the destruction of the city and everything was still really impressive. Seeing that whole scene and seeing like them
Yeah.
stop the singularity was really great. And yeah, the thing that would affect well, you go into your thing and then we'll do scores after that.
Well, we basically had the same ones, except I put the thing at the end with Barry and Henry. Like I'm that stuff is just always so good throughout each season. Yeah, so my heart, as always, for this series is the Barry and Henry Allen stuff. Like, that stuff is always just so heartfelt and heartwarming. I love it every time it's on screen. My humor, as I said earlier, same as yours. The Flash signal, I think I saw it in a comic book somewhere. Great. Yeah, and Spectacle is the scene where he's like running down the building and he catches Stein before he turns into street pizza. Like
That
that
was
was
great.
so cool.
Yeah, they definitely use their budget really well in this show. But yeah, so it's funny. The Henry and Barry stuff actually is the thing that's gonna affect the score negatively for me here. I will just because that scene pissed me off so much with like that whole him leaving thing, that's gonna knock it down. It was gonna be like a 4 out of 5 lightning bolts. I'm gonna knock it down to like a 3. Like that pissed me off enough to where it knocked it down 2 lightning bolts for me, man.
Yeah, see, and as much as I was praising the Barry and Henry stuff, like, yeah, that is kind of a reason why I put it at a 3, 3.5. Like,
Mhm.
that's just kind of stupid. Like, you can keep Henry around. You don't have
Yeah,
to like write him off the show. But yeah, that did affect my score too. I was like, it's a 3.5 or a 3, somewhere
yeah.
around there.
And hey, that means that from this point on, the rest of the season has like, basically to go up from here. So
It's got
like,
a low bar.
Yeah. And then obviously we're getting Patty in the next episode. So like originally to address
Wait,
the
she comes in the next episode?
yeah, so Flash of Two Worlds.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because we I remember the fan art for it, but we might what I might do for that next episode is I'm gonna read, and this is like a little behind the scenes like peek for you guys. I'm gonna read the Flash of Two Worlds and see how much like it factors in. We might do a thing where
Yeah,
we
we
just
we
kind of
both will.
address some similarities, or we might do either a full episode or just briefly mention it off the top as like an additional thing that we researched while watching
Yeah,
it, kind of thing.
yeah. We're
I'll see.
also, sorry, didn't mean to
Go
interrupt you
ahead.
there. We're also doing New 52 Flash, correct?
Yeah,
Because Patty
we
appears first in the New 52.
actually she doesn't. She was back in the 70s apparently, but she was not
Oh,
like a romantic that I looked that up and she was not a
oh.
romantic interest until then. So that's kind of why we skipped to season 2, episode 1. And we will cover that stuff like in like we'll probably take a little break at some point and
Do our
obviously
own mid-season finale.
yeah, a little mid-season break, and then we'll do like a little coverage of that just to, cover her before she leaves from the show.
Yeah.
And yeah, because she was definitely, I remember reading, speaking of with like the Ultimate Spider-Man thing you mentioned earlier, I would read those, like I was at like I would obviously buy the books after this, but I was like Barnes and Noble or something. And I remember just like the art, like clearly, and you guys can't see the tattoo, but like I do have a tattoo of Francis Manipul's art from that book on my arm.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like the art reached out to me and I love that those books. I remember just flipping through it and finding out about Patty before she appeared on there, so I got even more excited when they mentioned her. And so obviously like I like it. It's the New 52 stuff does interesting things. They give Iris in that powers, like speedster powers at a certain point, which is interesting. Like she gets a suit and everything. It's kind of fun, actually.
Huh.
Yeah, like
I've only read the one volume of New 52. I've only read Move Forward, I think is the name of the first volume,
that
and I
art
don't
is so
remember
good,
that
man.
happening. Yeah, I love Francis Manapul does the art on that.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if it was him or the other guy, but
Yeah.
yeah, I love the art on that stuff. It almost looks kind of like a dream almost. Like
Yeah,
it
I can see
looks
that.
very like cloudy and like there's a dream sequence going on.
The Speed Force is fascinating in that comic, like
I
how he interprets it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where it's
Yeah,
like
where he
very
has to like
abstract.
think faster
Yeah,
because
or
his
just like
brain.
the abstractness of it, where it has like
Oh
almost like
yeah.
a swirl effect, and there's like debris and stuff. Like it's very
Yeah.
interesting the
Yeah.
layout of that.
That that book is really cool. I need to reread that obviously before we talk about it because it's been a long ass time since I read New 52 Flash.
Any excuse for me to get into that stuff, like you don't have to twist my arm too much. I'm kind of
Yeah.
surprised that they didn't have because they incorporated some other speedsters in there. In that book, there is a Reverse Flash, but he is very different.
I did look this up. Yeah. I think I
Yeah.
have the volume with that particular Reverse Flash
It's a
because I
cool
have another
design
one.
too. Like he's got like
Yeah.
debris or something on him. Like it's like almost like he's like molten lava or
Yeah,
something like
I
that.
was
Like
gonna say
it's
it's like the black and orange one. They kind of make a reference to it with the rival in a later season of this show. There, I feel like his costume's kind of a reference to that, which that costume, even for the rival, was awesome.
oh yeah, the rival somewhat looks like a Power Ranger
He
villain though,
kind
a
of
little
does, but
bit.
he looks kind of cool at the same time. Like that whole, I remembering that now. Yeah, that whole sequence in the third season just looks like a Power Rangers episode.
Definitely. So yeah, I figure this is a good enough point as any. Thank you guys for joining us on our first episode of season 2 of Flashbacks. Brady, go ahead and do your plugs. I'll go into mine and then we'll get out of here.
All right, so if you also want to hear me talk about superhero stuff and nerd things, you can check out my podcast only on Spotify and YouTube. The name of the podcast is Tismo Talks, a comic book podcast. I don't have a schedule for that show, it's just whenever the hell I get an episode done. Right now, I'm covering the Spectacular Spider-Man. Like I mentioned earlier, I have not actually recorded the third episode yet, but I have my notes finished. So, whenever I can sit down and record it, because I'm also doing a bunch of voice acting things, like the Lego Batman Adventures series on the YouTube channel Minnow Bricks. I am the voice of Robin. On that, I'm trying to think what other voice acting things I have that I can talk about, because I know there's one I don't. There's two I don't think I'm allowed to talk about. Um, I'm Yeah, that's pretty much all for my voice acting stuff. My YouTube channel is Alanite, Alanight. I play superhero games or whatever kind of video game I want. My PC is being kind of slow, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make new videos at the moment. So I'm just uploading stuff from my backlog.
Nice. And then for me, obviously you can find me on here, Flashbacks, a Flash Rewatch podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I'm pretty sure we're on Audible. I think we're on Amazon
Really?
Music. Yeah, we're on like a lot of stuff.
Wow, I didn't know we were on Audible. That's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, we're on like I think like Castbox too. Anyway, we're like on a lot of that's why I say like all your favorite streaming platforms. But anyway, we're on there. Um we're on Night of the we have Night of the Batman that's coming back soon. Amanda recently has started her own podcast called it's a Gilmore Girls rewatch podcast called Review More Girls. She does it with her cousin. I actually edit and like produce that for
Yeah,
them.
I saw you
So
post about that earlier on Instagram.
yeah, so she's busy, but we'll definitely get back into that. We're going to cover the Crusader. I think because originally we're going to cover the video. I think that we will do that, but I think that we're going to cover the script too because we can kind of review that a little bit more and kind of go in depth into my original script from back then. Maybe have
Oh,
some video
that. Okay.
elements. Yeah, yeah, my fan film, fan
Yeah.
web series, and then Tangential Exchange. Me and Trip are working on some other stuff right now, but we will find time to do that. That's the show we're most laid back on. We kind of just drink and try to make each other laugh.
I
That one's
wanna I
great.
wanna do that for the Batman because we have a plan
Hmm.
for Tismo Talks. I will reveal this now to do a Batman and Robin commentary inspired by Alex and Ben doing it on Night of the Batman. I invited them on to Tismo Talks to do a Batman and Robin commentary. I'm waiting for my 21st birthday to do that because I want to have a drink while I watch that movie because I don't know. I know it's like okay, like
Hmm.
it's okay at a certain point, but I do want to experience that movie not sober, at least once in my life.
That movie's not as bad as people say, but yeah,
It's not bad.
I'll definitely enjoy that. That's going to be great. Actually, here I can kind of say this too. Me and Ben eventually, I don't know when it'll come out for Night of the Batman, but we're going to do BVS commentary where we
Oh,
watch and basically piss off all the Snyder Bros. Like
dude,
it's gonna
get
be
me
fun.
on this. Unless you've already recorded it, get me on this immediately. I've got shit to say about that movie. If you want to piss off the Snyder Bros, I'm your guy.
We'll talk. But and then lastly, we have What Mean. We will come back eventually. I just have to find a proper like number one, just another peek behind the curtain. I have to find a permanent like I'm gonna put it on Spotify for podcasters. That way all the episodes are back up. But in order to do that, I have to go back on my old computer. It's gonna be like a process to get all those old episodes, but like it will come back. And then that's
Yeah,
it for me. And with that being said, we'll try we're gonna try this
we'll
again, try
try.
to sync it up.
We'll
You ready
try.
on your end?
Yep.
All right, three, two,
Two,
one.
one.
We
We
will
will
see
see
you
you in the
in the
Speed
Speed
Force.
Force.
Close enough.
Yeah.